What is up, MMA fans? This is Tudo Leonte for Sherdog, and today I have the pleasure to talk with UFC heavyweight fighter, Mr. Jake Collier. Hello, Jake. Welcome on Sherdog. How are you today?
Doing great, man. Good to talk with you.
The pleasure is all mine, sir. How has your 2022 been going so far?
So far, so good, man. We've had a brutal training camp, so I'm ready for the fight to be here.
Have you done anything in particular in addition to preparing for your fight?
Yeah, man. We kind of switched things up and stopped looking at myself like, okay, I need to train like a heavyweight. We kind of switched it up, kind of like back in the day when I was fighting 85 or smaller weight classes and stuff. But I'll be completely honest, it's pretty brutal on a big heavyweight. It's pretty rough. I was really thinking it's taking my cardio to the next level.
Can you please, elaborate more on that? On what have you been doing, if you want to disclose it?
I mean, just like back in the day when I was fighting a lot smaller weight, we would just shark tank each other like really like bad. Like so fresh guys like every 30 seconds to a minute. Doesn't matter if we're grappling, wrestling, sparring, and we kind of went back to that route, and it's been pretty brutal. I mean, you think you go with a guy for 5 minutes, he tires as well as you do. But man, when you're getting a fresh guy every 30 seconds to a minute, it's just brutal. I mean, those guys are taking breaks, and you're in the whole time. We've been doing a lot of stuff like that. Pretty much every day is some scenario, whether we're grappling or wrestling, I'm getting a fresh guy every 30 seconds to a minute, and it's been brutal.
So I believe I'm right in saying that fans can expect to see an improved version of yourself fighting on January the 15th, right?
Absolutely. A leaner, faster cardio is going to be on point. I'm very excited to go finally get to showcase what we've been working on.
As you mentioned, you competed in different weight classes, and actually you are one of the few fighters who scored victories across 3 different weight classes, which is quite impressive. It's been a while since you moved up to heavyweight, but is there any part of your mind that, I don't know, still thinks about moving down somewhere, down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I like 205. I think that's a for sure weight class that like I could be in. But at heavyweight, I feel like we have, I don't know, as a fighter who's cut a lot of weight a lot of times, I mean, you have a lot more freedom, and also like the heavyweights, 205ers and heavyweights, they both hit hard, I mean, they just hit hard, but at the heavyweight level, I feel like I'm a little faster than them. So I feel like at heavyweight, I have an advantage. And I've not went with any guy that they've grabbed a hold of me and I'm like, oh man, this guy's just overly strong. I feel like I can handle myself better in there. And really it kind of takes a part of it makes it a little easier because fighting at lower weight classes and having to cut dramatic amount of weight, I don't have to think about that now I just focus on training, my workouts, my lifts, and focus on my cardio. I kind of like fighting heavyweight, I mean, like I said, the heavyweights fight, I mean, they hit just as hard as 205ers, man, and they're big, strong guys, but I like it a lot better. It's not as stressful for like the weight cut and stuff in training.
And I believe it's pretty thrilling for you, to compete at heavyweight, considering that every punch is, could be the last, both for you and your opponent.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You don't strike me as a guy who releases many interviews. Is that so?
Honestly, I would say I don't go looking for interviews. But if somebody does call me or, ask me, like, can they do an interview? I don't turn them down. I really don't honestly get asked a lot to do a lot of interviews.
Okay. That's a pity, because I really had to look for some of your interviews to get some material for this one. So I was just curious about if it was perhaps a choice of yours. And I also would like to say, obviously, that I'm honored that you accepted today to
Oh,
talk with us.
that's no problem at all, man. Happy to talk with you.
Are you still working a full-time job in addition to fighting?
No, not anymore. No, this is I'm dedicated only to this now. Again, another thing that makes life a little easier, where you can just focus on what you want to do and what you love.
How has your career improved since, dedicating yourself just to MMA?
I've definitely evolved. I heard the stories of a lot of guys saying, you need to quit your job and go do this full time. It's a life changing, and you hear that, and you don't, and then you actually finally do it. It is definitely, it changes your life around a little bit, man. You can focus some more on what you're supposed to be doing, and not going, well, I got 7 more hours in the day before I got to go work out for 2 hours, and I go to training a lot fresher, obviously. And just the mental part of it, just mainly just focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing, fighting, the training aspect, the dieting, eating clean and stuff like that. I mean, it all plays a toll, because when you're stressed out working all the time, and like I welded and carried steel all day. So after I got off work at, after 9-10 hours, I was a tired guy, I mean, and you really got to love this sport to drive an hour after working that shift to go train for 2 hours and then drive an hour home. And I did it forever, and now it's way nicer, and I feel like I've evolved so much better as a fighter. I understand the sport a lot more. It's definitely helped me out a lot.
When did when did you leave your full-time job?
I think it was November of last year, and definitely, like I said, it's changed a lot of things for me.
Yeah, but I was thinking about something else. I mean, you're right now, you are going to fight your 10th fight in the UFC, and it's kind of crazy to consider that it takes so long for a fighter to have the chance to leave their full-time job. And what I mean is, why this sport puts fighters in that position that they have to both to work a full-time job and compete. It must be, as you said, it's hard for people to have a full-time job and train.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's not like the competition we're fighting's lower level. We're fighting the best guys in the world, and it is rough, man. And I have 3 sons and a wife, so I got to pay bills. I mean, even when we're not fighting, you got to, like, I do a lot of side work. I do some welding on the side and stuff. I mean, especially when you go far, a lot of months between fights, you don't have no income coming in. So it's scary, and it's something you really got to dedicate it to. You really got to, if you're going to do that and not work, you got to go full, you got to give it your all, because you don't say you go out there and you lose by a split decision like my last fight. That was a rough one. That was a rough one to eat that loss when I thought I hands down won that fight. But it is what it is. You just move on and get better and move forward. Look at that fight on what I did wrong and what I can do to improve my next fight.
In your opinion, what can be done to improve the fighters' situation, so that they don't have to split their lives between, a full-time job and training for competing in the biggest and most important league in MMA in the world?
Man, I know a lot of guys complain about fighters' pay. Yeah, do we all want more money? Absolutely. Absolutely, we want more money. I mean, I'm not sure, man. I don't know if there was some, like, monthly incentive or something, like, kind of like, I don't know, every month that you're off not fighting for a fight, maybe you get like so much of, a check every month or something. I don't know. It's rough. And then especially, like, I think back, like, like you look at the fighters just now getting signed to the UFC, I think their contract's probably like 12 grand and 12 grand after you pay, gym fees, eating healthy, driving to the gym, paying your manager, paying this, and then paying taxes. It's like, yeah, I just made like 10 grand and I just trained 3 months of my life to make that, it can be rough, man.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. You mentioned that you're coming off a narrow split decision loss to Carlos Felipe at UFC 263. Can you please give us your thoughts on that fight and on that decision?
Well, so going into the fight, I hands down, I clearly won the first round. The second round was close, but the third round, I thought I won the third round. And then even after the fight, like his coaches were coming over, smack me on the back, like, congratulations. Like, I thought they were saying like, congratulations to me because they thought I won too. And then, they go to the decision. They announce him the winner. As you can see in the video, they lose their whole mind. They're flipping out, screaming, going crazy because I don't even think they thought they won that fight. But it is what it is. It's the fight game. I guess that's why you don't ever let it go to the judges.
Is fighting again against Carlos Felipe is something that you want? Are you going to pursue a rematch with him, or is it is what it is and you already left it behind?
Yeah, it kind of is what it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it burned pretty bad for a couple weeks. I don't think I watched the fights on the weekends for a couple weeks because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to be a part of it. I'm like, man, that was a rough one. I mean, I can understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm the type of guy, if you kick my butt in a fight or you submit me or knock me out, hey man, touche. But when I outstrike you every round 2-1, I think the third round I threw like 100 strikes in the third round or something crazy, and I still lost. Like he was the one split open bleeding. I was kind of scratched up. That's about it. But it is what it is. Move on and just focus on getting better and the flaws that I had in that fight.
Your next octagon appearance will see you facing Chase Sherman on January the 15th. How do you see this fight going down?
Well, obviously watching Chase's fights, he's a stand-up striker. We're very similar, I think. Our styles, we like to stand and exchange. And I honestly think that's what it's going to be. He's not a good enough wrestler to take me down. I've fought some very high-level wrestlers, and I train with high-level wrestlers. I train with a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu guys, so I don't think he wants to go to the ground with me. I haven't showcased none of my stuff on the ground either, but not really. And I think it's going to be a stand-up banger, and I think that, in my opinion, I'm faster, quicker, and I have more tools in the tool bag than he does. I think I'm going to outstrike him every bit of every round. I mean, unless I catch him and put him down. If it goes to the ground, I for sure am going for the finish, whether it's a TKO or submission. But striking wise, I think we're going to stand and trade. That's what's going to happen.
Do you see a finish here?
If we hit some out, I'm definitely finishing. But I think I have some tricky stuff lined up for him on the feet that he ain't seen before. That if I catch him, he's going to sleep.
Sir, the card on which you are fighting is headlined by the clash between Giga Chikadze and Calvin Kattar. Can you please tell us your pick for this fight?
I'm going Kattar. I think after the last fight he was in, I guarantee that guy's good, and he's a great striker. He's very good. And I think after his last fight, that war he had with Holloway, I think he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to prove that he belongs there. And then he's in another main event too, man. You got to go, when you're in main event, you got to go show out, I'm picking him.
The next event is UFC 270, and consider that you're a heavyweight. I would like to ask, who are you picking between Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane in the heavyweight affair that's going to headline UFC 270?
I'm going to go with Gane. Just stylistically, he's long, he's lanky. I mean, his style, I mean, he's a big heavyweight, but he doesn't really fight like a heavyweight. He's long, he throws a lot of kicks. And I think Ngannou, he's a big, strong power puncher. Don't get me wrong, but I think Gane's going to be hard to hit, and he's going to do a lot of swinging and missing. I think Gane's going to take it. I think Gane's going to take it by, decision. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us today. Before I let you go, do you have any last message?
Yeah, man, I just want to give a couple shout outs. Mike Francis, my boy, my manager, Hector Castro, all my guys at the pit, man. We've been putting in a lot of work. Patrick, Terry, Jacob, man, Chris, we all been getting a lot of They've been there for me every minute. They're there every day. They don't ever make excuses. We just get to work, and I just want to give a shout out to those guys, man, for always being there for me. I appreciate them.
Jake, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck with your upcoming fight, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
Thank you. Anytime, man. I appreciate it.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.